Power. Maybe some extra power? Power every once in a while. Oh, and to top it all off, more power. Power in my base is no longer about how much can I produce, but more about how do I distribute it correctly throughout all the different pieces of equipment throughout my base. So welcome to power distribution. This is based on an old video I did a while ago, and you get the basic idea of what I'm doing here. However, I think I have a much better arrangement these days. So the basic arrangement that I'm going to be working with here uses these small power transformers. And essentially, I'm just going to have two power transformers on the way in, a smart battery, and then a space in between them, another smart battery, and then power transformers on the way out. Now these could be smart, or they could also just be the jumbo batteries, depending on how much capacity I want to store. This is very similar to the arrangement that I did in the Ultimate Automation Challenge, which I did a while ago. However, this one's a bit more simplified. So essentially what I'm going to do here is just have two banks. Essentially one side is dedicated to in, the other side is dedicated to out. But you can kind of flip and flop things however you want. So this pattern here just goes like this, and then we end up with a lot of different tiles right here just to kind of build everything as needed. So what I'm left with is a battery pack that looks like this. And then what I do inside of here is I use the heavy watt wire to connect all of the different batteries together in kind of like a big ladder arrangement, just like this. And if I want power to go out to a piece of equipment, I'll use this heavy watt wire and run it to the large outlet right here. And then on the outside of this, since this is a 1000 watt sort of power transformer, if what I'm trying to run is kind of low power, then I can get away with this really cheap power here. I can just use the little wires, which is nice. I don't have to use a lot of refined metal. Or I can kind of string together two of them down here like this and get 2000 watts out of it. Alternatively, I could potentially use a large power transformer, but I don't really see myself using this for any of the equipment that I'll be dealing with, that's going to be connected to this thing. To bring power in is actually quite simple, because what I'll just use is again, this power transformer here, and then I could just use a light wire to run in from something like a steam turbine, because that's less than 1000 watts. And then what I end up doing here is just using a heavy watt wire on this side and then pulling in power that way. And then this comes from a different generator. So power can be brought in like this, boom, and then stored, and then delivered to wherever it needs to go. So ultimately, that's how I plan to build my power distribution block, and that's kind of the main storage hub. The real question now becomes, okay, where in the map do I want to put it? Because if we take a look at power here, you can see that my grid is sprawling all over the place. So I'm generating power here, here. I'll probably generate some over there, which might actually be over here. We have power generation up here. This one's kind of unique in the metal refinery, because what I'm doing here is I can, since this is a high watt system here, you can see this is 20 kilowatts. I can actually bring power into this and then use this to offload power to the hub if I wanted to. So if I have a lot of power generation above this, I can actually pipe it through this rather than running another wire all the way down from this thing. I'm guessing at some point here I'm going to have a solar array up top, and I'll be able to generate power from up there as well. Another thing I'll probably have is some heavier equipment for that will help support the rockets. So that'll be all the things that run the doors, probably liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen. Those things tend to consume a decent amount of power. So ideally, probably the best spot to put your power distribution block is right here. But obviously that's not going to work. So this spot here looks interesting to me, and then I might put it right there. That would reduce the amount of runs that I would need to have. However, that puts me in the same spot where I think I want to expand my fish farm. And looking back on the fish farm thing from Duo Nightshade, it kind of recommends building something a bit more like this to get the fish farm up and started. So that takes more space. But should I build that down? Or should I just build the distribution block right here? One thing to keep in mind here is that the power running to this block and away from this block is going to look a lot like these gas pipes over here, where there's just going to be lots and lots of lines of power, and then there will be bridges and other wires will run underneath them and whatnot. But then again, it kind of already is crazy. I suppose another way to build this block, if I wanted to, might be to try to build it more horizontal than vertical. So I might be able to triple down like this. So then I could build a battery about like that, and then dedicate the ones in the middle for offloading power. But can I even route wires out of this thing? Well, let's find out. One. Yeah, I mean, that seems possible. I can get power out. So that's 10 tiles tall by 22 wide. Let's see here. This might be a spot. Let's just check this out. Is that 10? Ooh, that is 10 right there. And it is 22 wide. So I think the power distribution block is going to live right here. It's kind of a cramped spot to build stuff, but I think it'll work out. There's only one way to find out. Let's try to build it. Sorry, Dreco, like you and many of your other friends. Yeah, I think you're going to lose your home here. But that's okay. You get to explore the rest of the base. Whoa, Otto. What'd you do? Jump into the volcano, bud? Head back over here and get cured up, please. Thank you. You and Viscrimson. All right, so this will be good. I'm glad that the power block looks like it's going to fit over here. Because I don't really want to end up over here on the left. I want this to be kind of a living area. Okay, one important thing I didn't know about this farm here is, even though I have this set up to be disabled on a critter sensor, it still loads into the conveyor loader. So these fry eggs here are not incubating, so I have to put that behind a door. That's why the loader is right here in this design, so that the eggs kind of remain down in the water and will hatch naturally. Good to know. It's an important thing. So with that in mind, I'm going to build 3 feeder tanks right here, using this exact same design here. Just go with something that works. All right, so the dupes have pretty much dug this out, so now we just need to place in all of our batteries and power transformers and everything that we need inside of there. Okay, so over here, right where this is, I'm going to put some doors. The reason we want to put doors there is because we're going to have heavy watt wires. I don't want that to core just blasting over here all the time. And we want to keep it kind of enclosed. I'll probably try to squeeze a Wheezewort inside of here just to try to keep the temperature of the batteries down. Otherwise, you know, they do give off a little bit of heat. That could potentially be a problem. For the most part, I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about. And then we're just going to slap a ton of batteries in here. Look at this. I'm making all of this out of gold amalgam just so it's a little bit more temperature resistant. That's a lot. I think for the sake of efficiency, though, I'm going to use smart batteries. They just bleed off a little bit less energy. And since this is pretty much my main storage area, yeah, I think that's the right idea. You can see right down there in the description, power runoff, that's 400 joules per cycle, whereas the jumbo battery has a runoff of 2 kilojoules. Now, once I get to actually running all the wires and everything, I may flip these power transformers, you know, left or right, depending on what I feel like I need. For right now, they're just going to stay just the way they are. I almost think I want to lift this thing up, just because this is kind of like bumping into equipment down there. Okay, yeah, before I get too far into it, let's go ahead and just move everything up 1 tile. It's times like this where I wish I had a blueprint, you know, so I could just like plop this thing down and build it. You can see that I'm using the exact same design here. The dupes can go in, they build the ladders, they build the rest of the stuff. You know, stuff like that. One of these days, Clay, give us the blueprint tool, please. All right, yeah, that'll be better. Let's go ahead and try to sleep up this bleach stone before it ends up pumping way too much chlorine into the rest of my base. How you doing down here, biker puppy? Oh, it looks like the temperature's down to a reasonable amount. We can go ahead and stop using that. See the temperature inside of here, 890 degrees Celsius. Next activity, what? 35.7 cycles? Ooh, look at this. We almost have complete hydrogen here. I was trying some interesting things with the blocks over here, in case you were wondering. By constructing blocks, obviously I forced the gas out of that tile so that it kind of moves around. So I was like, okay, well, let's see if I can get the hydrogen to flow in here. Here's what I'll do. I'll just do a little mini gas pump. A lot of construction projects today. Whoa, look at how cold this natural gas got. I mean, it makes sense because the Wheezeworts are in here, but wow. So one of the other advantages here of just using the small power transformers is that we can just use raw ore, whereas the large power transformers, they use a fair bit of like refined metals. This is a fairly cheap way to kind of build this unit. Okay, so there were some comments talking about the idea of trying to plant a buddy bud inside of my oxygen system down here. That is an interesting idea. So you know what? I think I'm going to try that. We'll see what happens. We can use a wall pot that way because I don't have the floor space. And I'll put one there, and I can also put one right over here. Now I think the temperature inside of here is a little bit hot. I don't think this thing is running right now because it's not hooked into power. Did I mess up the power again? All right, so I still had a problem where this was getting damaged every once in a while. So what I did, in an effort to cover every single tile here, I was able to find one spot to put another element sensor right there and just detect if it's oxygen, I kick it out. So a little bit of double redundancy there, just in case. Not sure why oxygen finds its way through. It shouldn't, but this pipe may just not be long enough or something like that. I don't know. There's some oddball situation where just like a teeny bit of oxygen can find its way through, and I haven't been able to catch it to see when it happens. But anyhow, there we go. A little bit of extra help. This thing here is just about done. I put a little wheezewort down there. It's kind of doing its thing. I don't have another wheezewort right now, so you can have a little mirth leaf. I'm actually going on a planting spree throughout the base, so I've got more plants over here. A jumping joya and a mirth leaf. How about a buddy bud? We'll just have all of the decor in one spot. These joyas are actually pretty good in that look at their temperature range, 0 to 100. If you're experiencing either of those, you're in trouble. Well, maybe not 0, but if you're definitely too hot, well, yeah, you're gonna have issues. You know what, Merc? I think you need one of these hanging pot things. There you go. I never use these. Ever. Boom, look at that decor. It's getting pretty good. Ooh, look at this. Hydrogen everywhere. So the phosphorus temperature down here is still 700 degrees. Same with the metal tiles. The real trick is that this igneous rock down here is still 1,300 degrees Celsius. So it's still quite toasty. So as this condenses back into a liquid, it should in turn come in contact with that rock and heat back up. So it'll be interesting to see once this thing kind of reaches a more kind of a lower temperature down here. For right now, we're kind of burning off the heat, the initial heat, fairly quickly as we run this unit. A wall-mounted deodorizer? Now that would actually be a really cool item. Yeah, because I keep making all these little airflow tiles and then sticking one on top of it. There's another good idea. That's something a mod could do, you know? Or if you could just rotate it, right? And then just stick it to the wall. Yeah, there we go. You guys were wondering about the germs in here? Well, there's no germs in this water, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just this odd, awkward tile of dupe pee. That's all. I think it's perfect just the way it is. All right, well, that chlorine is not really the most thermally conductive thing to have your wheezeworts plopped into, but maybe that'll flow out eventually. I leave this an airflow tile and that an airflow tile. I want to put a couple doors here. The decor in here is going to get really, really bad. So let's go ahead and connect all these batteries. Bubbles, Bubbles, how'd you end up there? You just like, there you go. Now you're free. These dupes, always getting stuck every single time. Okay, do I have the right, ooh, that's 20 to 40 degrees. So it's just too hot to even put those in there just right now. So as far as the power grid is concerned, I'm just going to get rid of that. This little hydrogen generator can continue to do its thing and push power through here. That's okay. One thing I might do, this one's going to be interesting because right now it's pulling power from the grid and it also pushes power back into the grid, which I think is okay for its purpose. Because if I don't do anything, these batteries will kind of drain their juice. So I think what I want to do is go to standby if it reaches 100, or let's say 99. But it only becomes active at this point if I'm over 75. So what I'm going to do is actually store a lot more power inside of here. What I'm going to try to get away from is bringing power in to this unit at all. Now, one way I can do that is if I just kind of change the automation. So this thing will only become active if we go below like 2%. And then it goes to standby at 50% or something like that. Currently, this automation signal is set up in such a way that it kind of keeps cycling power in and out of these batteries. Now, that might actually be a good thing in that it may stop these batteries from burning off a little bit of their extra charge. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to decouple those right now so that it only brings it in if it's very, very low. So for the most part, normal operation for this thing, it should be that it just builds up charge and then it will discharge if it pretty much reaches full and only go down a little bit. So the main capacity for my base will be down here. So with that, I can get rid of this conductive wire, and I'll actually just be able to replace it with a light wire. Or what I'm calling a light wire. It's really just called wire. How about a 1 kilowatt wire? I'll call it that. So we get rid of the 2 kilowatt wires, and we're going to replace them with 1 kilowatts. And that'll pretty much be all over the base. Except for, you know, maybe this grid right there. That just runs a lot of random equipment every once in a while. Speaking of things that offload charge to go do other things, this coal generator. That might be the first thing we plug in. Ooh, is it kind of hot in there? I guess it is kind of hot in here. Wow, look at that, 87 degrees. I might want to do something about that. Well, let's start by leaving the doors open. Man, everybody got cooked. 4 dupes. Maybe it's... No, that's ceramic. Probably, I don't think it'd be coming out of those pipes. Probably just built up from these batteries over cycle after cycle. Oh, and we got all that crude oil too. Okay, yeah, I see where it's all adds up. Well, here's a solution. We'll just bring in cool air. And then I'll use a couple airflow tiles to send that pressurized air down and into the base. Alright, that seems to have dropped the temperature just enough to stop cooking my dupes for a little while. Although over here is still really hot. Wow. Of course, the next question you guys have been asking is, can we do base cooling with fish? Well, I don't know if we can, but this might be a candidate to fish cool. I could fit a little farm right up here. Oh my gosh, look at all these fish. Tame, tame, tame. Oh, perfect. That's what I wanted to see. How do I move you to a different tank? Yo, and how'd all this oxygen get in here? Oh, I totally forgot about that. Crap. Okay, so time to start working the power grid. That's going to go down. Okay, so here's the first 2 generators that are going in. So you can see they're going in on the big side. On the outside, I'm going to use the heavy watt. So that's the coal generator here and the steam system up top, which includes this hydrogen generator. So those will run right down here and into that location. All right, so something else that I'm going to run over here, that's just going to be replacing all of this with a simple 1 kilowatt wire. And I think I'll get rid of this battery. I don't think I need it anymore. That's just for the ice makers and this little cooling loop. Speaking of which, I think I got that thing up and running again. There was actually a piece of debris down here that was blocking the sensor. So the temperature in there was a little bit too hot because of that. Now it's cooling down. Another spot I'm sending power out of is going to be right here. I need to run these things like arcades, jukeboxes, other somewhat non-critical equipment. You know, things like the electric grill and whatnot. Although that is kind of critical, but... So deconstruct all of that automation. Get rid of that. This will be nice because I'll probably be able to expand my food. I was starting to run out of places to store stuff. I'm just deconstructing and reconstructing all of the wires in my base. Trying to run you guys through this would be absolutely crazy. I'm like rebuilding this, I'm moving that, I'm getting rid of batteries here and there. Essentially, the main idea is all the power producers are dumping into here, and then I'm running power from here to everything else that's existing. Some stuff is staying in place, other things are getting rewired. Alright, so I got another wart seed here out of this printing pod. So I can uproot that. And then we'll be able to bring this little guy right over here, down there, and that should keep the batteries cold. There we go. Let's go ahead and plant that. These tubes have so much to do. I mean, honestly, look at all this. There's just wires and wires everywhere. If we look at the priority list, yeah, stuff to do everywhere. What has happened here? How does that even happen? There's water over the weight plate? What? Clay, I broke your game again. Or is it just water on top and it graphically looks weird? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so here's a good example. This coal generator just built up its power. So the battery maxed out and it flipped over the power transformer. And at this point, I'm now running current through this wire right here. And that is feeding into the rest of this grid down here. And wherever it's going, well, is where it's going. It's probably running this or something else over here. Who knows? Oh, uh-oh, that's not good. I didn't hook this thing back up fast enough. Now my dupes are having issues because I don't think they have any more clean water. No, they do have clean water. Oh, maybe some of them. It's just starting to run out. Sorry, dupes. My bad. Okay, so I finally got this chamber here up to pressure. You can see it's got 3 kilograms of hydrogen up there and lots of oxygen. When I go in here to sweep this out, that should reduce the oxygen pressure. kind of let that hydrogen make its way down. Although you can see that the temperature in there, not bad. And we can see that this steam turbine is now offloading its power. And that power is going to run way up and over here and into the battery bank. And I have this one hooked up as well, so it's kind of doing its thing. So that flows up here into the battery bank as well. So that's 4 sources, or technically 5 ways in to this power distribution block. Once I have natural gas, that'll be another way. And then power out is running to the rest of the base way over here. Although that needs to be all 2 kilowatt wires. So that runs to all of that stuff. You can see that there's a fair amount of potential current for that, over 3,000 watts, but most of that stuff just runs so infrequently, it's not a big deal. The other work I'm doing here is trying to optimize the path of wires so that I kind of get rid of these kind of redundant loops like this. That way I could just reduce the amount of materials I have consumed by wires and whatnot. Okay, so one reason for flipping these power transformers is when I'm in a situation like this. So I want to bring power in, and I also want to take power out side by side. The problem I have right now is I have this heavy watt wire, and I can't get behind where I need to go. I need to get to this. I need to connect the heavy watt wire to that port right there. So to do that, what I really need to do here is flip these power transformers so that I can plug everything in the right location. So by flipping that allows me to bring this light wire in right up here like this. If I can, sometimes I can't get it to connect. There you go. And that allows me to take the heavy watt wire right over here like that. So power can come in here and head out there, just like that. How's the decor in this location? Anybody have a guess? I'm thinking negative 800. Oof, I was way off. Price was wrong, Brothgar. This is negative 400. In some areas, it's negative 600. I guess that's not as bad as I thought. Still not a place I'd rather, I'd want to be. It's interesting how you can see the power drain out, and then you're like, okay, what's running? And then you see, oh, there's a dupe on the jukebox or something like that. That really is how how the system works. It pretty much drains kind of the satellite storage capacitors, and then if we get below all of that, then we get into all of these smart batteries. There's a good chance we could probably get rid of a fair number of these smart batteries, but I'm not willing to bet all that much on it. I kind of like my batteries. I have a lot of them, as you can tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bunch more. Yeah, I've got like 20 batteries in here. But look at the jukebox is running. You could probably see that the power is drawing down from right over here, actually. Merc's dancing pretty hard. But watch this. And then the steam turbine kicks back on, and the power goes back into goes back into that battery, actually. And then it drains out again because, I don't know, it went somewhere else. I don't even know where the power goes anymore. But that's the whole point of power distribution. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to know where it's going. It just has to get there. And look at this crazy grid. All right, dupes, you made an absolutely massive mess now that you've deconstructed all of these wires. So sweep everything. All of it, dupes. I don't want a single piece of debris left behind. There you go. Good job, dupes. Okay. So this thing can no longer offload its power. Guess I forgot that one. Power distribution is awfully tedious, but I tell you what, it's definitely worth it once you get everything set up. Because it just makes, plugging things in and moving stuff around quite a bit easier. There you go, dupes. Replace that tile with metal. Spill a bunch of water all over the place. That'll cool it down. Temperature problem solved. Well, most of these little baby fish have grown up to become adults. They're all glum. Except for the tiny baby. It's probably the one who keeps eating out of the fish feeder. Maybe I can use a fish trap once I get enough water up here. Okay, so what's the temperature inside of here? Ooh, it's 30 degrees Celsius. So now, let's try these buddy buds. Let's see how that works. Okay, cool. So you can see the fluorescence here. And if we take a look at the pipes, we can kind of get some sort of idea that it is inside the pipes. So what I hope to see is that this will then go over here and, well, find its way into this area. And yeah, we can see right there, there was just like one floral scent. There it is, 2 floral scent germs. Not a lot, but hey, you know what? That's better. Oh, there we go. 300, 500. Hey, it's working. That's a good idea, guys. So that really helps solve the problem of having food poisoning and whatnot kind of go through here and end up in the oxygen. So that's good. Cool. Nice to see that working. And if we take a look at the temperature overlay of this base, everything looks to be nice and comfortable. We're at 26 degrees here. Yeah, that's working out pretty good. This over here is not too hot, but I'll have to keep my eye on it, see if it ends up heating up over time. And it looks like there's a good reason for having extra batteries here because, look, we've drained these down already. You can see that we don't have much steam down here, so that's not able to offload as much power anymore. We're kind of relying on this guy right now. It's doing its thing. We'll have to take a look at a chart here just to see how well the power is actually doing throughout the base. Okay, here's one way I can get a nice tame fish up there. I have little eggs down here, and these will actually be tame. So I'll just build that, and then I'll deliver the egg and add water over time here. Set that to sweep only. Oh no, I messed up. I put the eggs up here. Oh, I don't know if it's going to be tame or not, but here we go. Stinky's going to bring how many down? Please, only one. Only one. There we have it. 1 fry egg. Whew. I'm just going to rework this a little bit so that the dupes don't have to go through here to do this number. Open up the fish farm to the left. And then close it off over here to the right. Ha! There's the last fry egg I need. And that will end up right there. Perfect. Dupes, where did you go with the egg? It never made it here. And I know it didn't make it here. And I know there's more. And it's not up in here. Dupes? Dupes, what'd you do with the egg? Is it in here? Aha! Oh, no, that's a raw egg. Never mind. Okay, well, I guess one's in there. Let's go ahead and sweep that up. And then please put that over here. Well, this will be revealing. You are going way up here. Ow! That is not a good place for critter eggs. Oh, and there's one inside of there. Aha! Found you. Dupes, where'd you go with the egg? It's priority level 9 duplicants. All you need to do is sweep 1 egg. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you, dupes. Sweep! Move it! Oh, it might be unreachable, that's why. Aha, because that door is locked for whatever reason. The source of my problems has been discovered. All right, I'm gonna close this in a little bit more. Hopefully more carbon dioxide builds up in there. We'll see. We got a new little slickster larva in there. Okay, so now I have the right fish in the right bowl down there. I just gotta wait for them to hatch and fill it up with enough water for everything to actually work as intended. So one spot I could possibly get some more water would be from this cool steam vent way over here. I've yet to tap into that thing, and that thing looks like it would actually put out quite a bit of water. Look at that. 5.3 kilograms of steam at 1.10 degrees Celsius. I don't think we can get a lot of power from that, but we could definitely get a lot of water out of it. The other thing here is I definitely need to get into both glass and plastic production, so that'll probably have to happen here next time. But now that I got the power situation kind of figured out, I got power being produced and offloaded into the grid and going to wherever it needs to go, yeah, I think things are moving in the right direction. Just out of curiosity, let's take a look at the reports here. You can see that the power demand here over the last several cycles has definitely gone up. However, the power wasted is remained nice and low this entire time. Matter of fact, I don't even see any cycles where we really had like a lot of power wasted. Maybe just one right there, 189. So far, this base seems to be running off about 600 kilojoules right there. And it may be using just as much power as I can actually produce right now. So maybe I do need to generate a little bit more power. But then again, we've got crude oil down here, so I could probably make a petroleum generator just to kind of make up for what I can't get out of these steam turbines. Or rather than having this power build up and then offload all the time, I might just let this thing run a little bit more wide open. So one way I could do that over here, actually all I have to do is deconstruct the automation wire right here. So if I do that, then it just never turns off, which is fine. Considering, you know, this thing is really just meant to run all the time. So it's kind of a base load piece of equipment. Whereas this one kind of runs when it has enough steam. You can see that at this point we're down to just a few grams inside of here. So it's kind of nice to have this thing just kind of stop and build up some power and then offload it as it's needed. Oh, and I guess the other thing is I'm not generating any power off this natural gas. So, okay, there's more power generation to happen all over the place. Take one last look at the germs here. Yep, they're exiting out of the vents. That was a good idea. Nice. I need more food storage. I now have 1.2 million calories. Wow, okay, well, that reminds me, I should probably go eat, and I gotta mow the grass. So I'm gonna have to end the video right here. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode here of Oxygen Not Included. If this looks like the channel for you, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.